Okay, so we're in the middle of the Gemara ready for the recording. I'm sorry that we started a little bit late, the recording. Thanks, Dr. Fani, put it on again. But the Gemara now, Rav says that even this case, which is a Chiddush, Rav says that even this case, which is Chiddush, is also mutter. At the time, they had three brothers, two were married to two sisters. One brother died, second brother died, and then the wife of the first one also died. So Rav says even this case, that when the second one came onto the picture, she was usher to, when her husband died, she was usher to marry the Yavam. But since now her sister died and she's not anymore close to Kukaso, she's allowed to do Yavam. Rabbi Yochanan argues on that. And Rabbi Yochanan says this case not, but the second case is yes going to be mutter because in the case where the wife of the second one died and the wife of the first one is the one who's remaining, so when she came into Yibum, her husband died, she was mutter. Then temporarily she became mutter because her sister fell to Yibum, and now she's a chos kukoso. And now that she died, she's mutter again. So see the Gemara inside. I missed it again. I keep on doing something wrong. Okay. So Rav said, okay, Mesa Rishona Mutter B'Shnia, Ben Zachlama Mesa Shnia Mutter B'Rishona, Mishum Davi Yevama Shotra, Benesra, the Chazer V'Utra, Tachso Latera Rishon. This case that Rav is explaining is the second case, which is not the big Chiddush, and everyone is going to agree to that case. The case that she was Mutter, and then also they came Mutter again. That case is Mutter. But Rav says even a bigger Chiddush, that Mesa Rishona, which was not Mutter, where Mesa Rishona and Mutter B'Shnia means that the Shnia, which was not mutter when she fell to Yibum, even that is mutter now when her sister dies, because now she became mutter, even though Pshas Nefilas Yibum, when they fell to Yibum was asa, still it's mutter. Still not up for 1 second. And if Yochanan Amar, Mesa Shnia mutter b'Rishon, Avam Mesa Rishon asa b'Shnia, my time shekol Yivama she'enan kori ba Pashas Nefila Yevama Yavo Aleha Hareizu Keishes Achshel Eish Labanim Vasura. That Rabbi Yochanan says no. In the case where the one who's falling, who's now mutter, was originally Yasser, the Shnia that when she came into the Yibum, she was already Yasser to the Yavam because her sister was already falling to Yibum and it's a Chos Kukaso. Even though now the sister died, it doesn't make a mutter, since at one point it was considered a brother's wife that was Yasser. When she came into Yibum, B'Shas Nefila, when she came to Yibum, she was Yasser because she's the brother's, because of a side point, but Lamaisa is a brother's wife that cannot do Yibum. She becomes Yasser for her brother's wife forever. And Rav argued on that. Tomorrow's the Kasha of Rav Leslie Hasfar. Does Rav not agree? So Mamish word for word. Rav said the same thing as Rabbi Yochanan, that if Peshas Tefillah she was Aser, it never becomes Mutter. The Gemara answers, just to have a picture for that. If that picture is on, I hope that it's on. That here, what am I doing? Here's a simple case that you have two brothers married two sisters, and the brother died. He can't do Yibum to his sister-in-law because his brother's wife, because it happens also to be his wife's sister. Even if eventually, subsequently, his wife dies, he's still not allowed to take her because at the time of Yibum, she was Asa. And this is, the Gemara says, Issa Daraisa because it's a Chos Ishto. But in the case we're talking over here, that it's not a Chos Ishto, it's only a Chos Kukasa, it's Rabbanan. So then Rav holds, even though when the second one fell, she was Asa to the Yavam because she was a Chos Kukasa, if that goes away, because the wife of the first one dies, she would be Mutter. The Gemara continues. Eisvei Rabbi Yossi Rabbi Chanina Rabbi Yochanan. Arba Achin, Shnei Mahen Nesun Shnei Achayos, so Meisman Nesun Es Achayos. Our Mishnah, Hareilu Cholsos, V'lo Misyamos. V'amai, Leiku Chad Binayu, Lachlos Lo L'Shniya, the Tevi Rishon, the Gabidach, Yivam Shutra, the Nesra, the Chazer V'Hutra, Tachso Latera Rishon. To get that on the screen. This is the Mishnah, our Mishnah, beginning of the parak. What we have? We had four brothers, they married two sisters. So it says that each brother is called a chos kukasa, and neither one is allowed to marry either one. That's what the Mishnah says. Just to go, this is what the Mishnah says to do. The Mishnah says both of them should do chalitza. 4 brothers married 2 sisters, both of them died, both of the men died. So either brother is called a chos kukasa, so both of them are zkuka to them. So you can't take either one because it's the sister of the zkuka. So therefore, both the brothers have to do, both women have to get chalitza. The one is asking a question. Let's take it step by step. In this case, they didn't die simultaneously. One of them died first, second one died. When the first one died, she falls to Yibum, and no problem. She's okay to fall to Yibum. She's mutter. This is called B'shas Nefila. She was allowed to do Yibum. And then the second one died. The Gemara is asking, let one of the brothers do chalitza to the second one, and that takes away the zika. And now the other brother should be able to marry the wife of the first one. If you hold that as long as B'shas Nefila was mutter, it could temporarily go off and come on again. That's what happened over here. When the first one, the first husband died, at that point she was mutter to everybody, mutter to the brothers. And then when the other brother died, she became Muslim. So let someone take away that zika. Let one of the brothers take away that zika by doing chalitza, and then she'll become mutter again, and let her do yibum. That's the most kasha on Rabbi Yochanan. Even it means that's surely kasha on Rab. Rab's even more makel. But Rabbi Yochanan holds that as long as B'shas Nefila was mutter, it could temporarily go off and come back again. So here too, why does the Mishnah say that both of them have to have chalitza? Let the wife of the first one have yibum because she was originally mutter. The words are good. Let one of them give chalitza to the one whose husband died second, and then let the wife of the first one become like a yevama who was mutter originally, became mutter, and goes back to be mutter again. That was the kasha of Rabbi Yochanan, and surely on Ram. Amalei, Rabbi Yochanan said, it's a good kasha. I don't know who said it was Tana of this Mishnah. Means it's a very subtle way of saying like it's against me. But what should I do? Like, it doesn't make sense, and it must be that's not a proper Mishnah. I don't know what to say, but it is against him. The Mishnah that says that both of them need chalitza is against Rabbi Yochanan. It says everything depends on the Shas Nefila. If when she fell to Yibum, she was mutter to do Yibum, even if temporarily it went off, it could come back again. The Gemara wants to help out Rabbi Yochanan. The Gemara is going to say a bunch of possibilities to try to help out Rabbi Yochanan that the Mishnah should not contradict. Maybe the Mishnah doesn't mean both of them have to do chalitza. Maybe the Mishnah just means, even though the Mishnah says cholzos, it doesn't mean both of them have to do chalitza. Maybe it only means, that's the Pashut Pshat, both of them have to do chalitza. Maybe it just means one of them have to do chalitza, and the second one, the first one could do yibum. The Gemara doesn't like that. Where's that? My cholzos, tiktani. Where am I holding? My cholzos, namitani cholzos chada. The Gemara says cholzos katani. It says plural. It says both of them. It says plural. My cholzos dalma. Sometimes you say that doesn't mean in this case both of them. It means any case that would happen like this in the world, it also be mutter, but it's only referring to the second one, to one of them. No, Elu katani. It says both of them. It says ferish. Elu means plural. That both of them have to do chalitza. Maybe the Mishnah just means to say if the first one got chalitza, means if you do it smart, then give chalitza to the one who fell second, and then the first one could do yibum. But if you weren't so smart and you did chalitza to the one who fell first, then there's no answer for the second one, because the second one, when she came into yibum, she was asa, right? The whole question was the one who fell into yibum first. She's the one who could say, I was mutter and asa and mutter again. But the one who fell second, then she surely is not going to be mutter, because when she came into yibum, when her husband died, she was very asa. It's not going to become mutter. And if you gave chalitza to the first one, there's no time to do yibum to the second one, because even though now she's mutter, but she was asa from the beginning. And only it would be a kash on Rab maybe, but Rabbi Yochanan could have said this. Rabbi Yochanan could have said that in the case where you gave chalitza to the first one, then there's no answer for the second one. The Gemara says Cholzos lechatchila katani. The word cholzos doesn't mean in a b'diavad case. It means that's what you're supposed to do. So it's not only a case where you gave chalitza to the first one, even if you didn't do anything yet. This is what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to chalitza to both of them, and that's the Mor's kasha. Why? According to Rabbi Yochanan, you can give chalitza to the second one and do yibum to the first one. The Gemara still tries. Maybe it's a gzeira. Really, you should be able to do this. Really, you can give chalitza to the second one and give yibum to the first one. But maybe it's a gzeira that if you're going to allow yibum to the first one, maybe he's going to give chalitza to the first one and think that the second one can do yibum. They'll make a mistake. So maybe that's the reason that the Mishnah says both of them are asa. The Gemara says, excuse me. The Gemara says no. Second line, below yevamos katani, the lekadini b'machaklam. The fact that the Mishnah says cholzos below yevamos, it doesn't sound like it's only a gzeira. It sounds like it's minadin that it's not supposed to be any yibum, and therefore it's against Rabbi Yochanan, because according to Rabbi Yochanan, you would be able to give chalitza to the second one and yibum to the first one. The Gemara still doesn't give up. The Gemara tries a possibility. Maybe if you hold like Rabbi Yochanan that the issue was Zika, so there's a way to take off the Zika. The Zika, when they first came, they felt the Yibum, there was a mechuyev to do Yibum, and then the Zika, and the reason why it came a problem is because of Chos Kukoso, and then take off a Chos Kukoso, everything's good. But the Gemara is suggesting a different possibility that the Mishnah will hold up, and it won't be against Rabbi Yochanan then. That maybe the reason why there's no Zika, really there's no problem. You should be allowed, no, ain't Zika means that you don't look at a Chos Kukoso, there's no problem of a Chos Kukoso. You mentioned it's not a possibility. The reason why the problem is because if one is going to do Yibum, then he's not going to be able to do Yibum anymore to the second one because it's going to be a Chos Ishto, and maybe the second one is going to die. It means if there'd be only one brother, if we move this over a second, if there'd be only one brother, and then he's going to marry one of them, then surely he's Matal Mitzvah Yevamim because he's not going to be able to do Yibum or Chalitza to the second one because it's very Yachos Ishto. But even if there's another brother around and he'll be able to do Yibum to the second one, maybe he's going to die. One will do Yibum, the other one will die, and she's left without anything, no Yibum or no Chalitza. And if that's the pshat, then the Gemara understands that it's not going to be against Rabbi Yochanan. We can understand why both of them are not allowed to do Yibum. Both of them have to do Chalitza. Even though you might ask, even on this pshat also, that if one does, let one of them do Chalitza, and the other one do, no difference according to the order even, because once the one does Chalitza, so now the second one has no reason not to do Yibum, because there's no Aslavat Mitzvah Yevamim anymore. The second one is taken care of already. But here the Gemara understands, Rashi says, everyone understands that over here, there is a Gezerah, and we're going to have to say that both of them are Asar. I don't really understand that, but here the Gemara says that according to that pshat, it's not going to be against Rabbi Yochanan, because Aslavat Mitzvah Yevamim, over there we are going to say Gezerah, that both of them shouldn't do Chalitza, in order that they shouldn't, both of them shouldn't do Yibum, neither of them should do Yibum, in order that they shouldn't make a mistake. And the first one is going to do Yibum. But the Gemara says, Rabbi Yochanan doesn't agree to that pshat. Top line, Rabbi Yochanan l'misa lo chai. Rabbi Yochanan doesn't know that pshat because he's not choshesh from misa. In general, he's not choshesh somebody's going to die, and therefore it wouldn't be a reason to say that one of them shouldn't do Yibum, and the other one should do Yibum also, because you're scared that after the first one does Yibum, the other one's going to die, the other Yavam is going to die, and she's going to be left with nothing. He doesn't hold it up shot. He can't hold it up shot because he's not choshesh from misa. If there's only one brother, then he could agree to it, that Raslavatal Mitzvah Yevamim. But to say that even when there are two brothers, he's choshesh that one of the brothers is going to die after the first one did Yibum, he doesn't hold it up. The Gemara says the Gemara is still trying. That even though we said that Rabbi Yochanan and everybody else over here, that if when she felt Yibum she was mutter, even though she became temporarily Yasser, she could become mutter again. But there is a Tana that argues. Everyone agrees, we'll see later on, everybody agrees there's a Tana that argues that even if she was mutter, if she became Yasser, then she's Yasser forever. So say this mission is like Rabbi Lazar, that once she was Yasser, at one point she's Yasser forever. But the Gemara says, no, may the say for Rabbi Lazar, Reisha, Lav, Rabbi Lazar. That our Mishnah continues that Rabbi Lazar is talking in our Mishnah, because he's the one who says, we'll see it soon, but in our Mishnah it says, in Kodmu v'konsu yikayim, and the second line of our Mishnah, beginning of the parak, Rabbi Lazar starts speaking. So you see that he wasn't the spokesman until now, so it must be not according to Rabbi Lazar. So Rabbi Yochanan says, therefore, that I don't know Pshat who the Mishnah is, because according to what I hold, the since when she fell to Yibum, she was mutter, even though she became temporarily also, she could become mutter again. So by the four brothers, it's not necessary to get chalitza from both of them. It would have been good enough to get chalitza to the second one, and the first one to do Yibum. And he still continues saying, I don't know who the Tanna of our Mishnah is. The Gemara has another choice. The Gemara is trying very hard to help out Rabbi Yochanan. The name lahu the nafal b'basachas Rabbi Yosef Lili the Amar Efshel Samson. Why did both of them die simultaneously? The whole kash is only if one died first and the second one died. So then when the first one died, she was mutter. If both of them died simultaneously, both of the brothers died simultaneously, then there's no kasha because neither one, but they both fell into Yibum simultaneously, being achos kukaso. Then it wouldn't be a kasha on Rabbi Yochanan. And Rabbi Yochanan, this only goes if you hold Efshel Samson. It means, do we know that both of them died exactly the same time? Rabbi Yochanan really says it's possible to know exactly at the time, the second that they died at the same time. And if you hold like Rabbi Yosef, that's to be a case that the Mishnah both of them have to do chalitza. But the Gemara also doesn't like this. That in general, we don't have a Tana that holds like him. Most Tanam don't hold Efshel at Samsem. Most Tanam hold the Efshel at Samsem. So it's not going to be a case where both of them died simultaneously. We're always going to say that one of them died a second before the other one. The Gemara still tries. Maybe the case is, you're right, one of them died first, one of them died second, but we don't know which one. The kasha was give chalitza to the one that died second, to the wife of the one that died second, and then the first one will go back to her heta. She was originally mutter, she became temporarily also, she became mutter again, but you don't know which is the first, which is the second, and therefore you can't do this trick because maybe you're going to give it to the one who died, whose husband died first, and the other one is not going to be mutter because she was also when she fell into Yibum, and she became mutter. That doesn't help. That's the Gemara now. Maybe we don't know, but the Gemara is going to answer. That might have made sense, but it doesn't make sense that at the end of the Mishnah, the Mishnah continues that even the Yevid, kan move a kansu is also asa. Means here the case would have been that both of them did Yibum. I think I have it on the chart. No, I don't. Maybe not. No, I didn't put it on the chart. But let's say both of them would have done if both of them did Yibum. We tell them both of you do chalitza. We say both of you do chalitza. And the Mishnah says, even if both of them did Yibum, even b'di'evet, we're going to tell them they have to divorce them because they were usher at one point achos kukaso, so therefore they're usher even after the Yibum, the zika is taken away by each one doing Yibum, means when he does Yibum to one of them, there's now the other one is not achos kukaso to the other one because she's not skuk anymore, she's already married. And when the other one marries the other wife, then the other one is not a chos kukaso, but she's not a chos kukaso because the other one is married already. But the Mishnah says no, you'll see you. And that the Gemara just means to say that if one of them is really mutter, you just don't know which one it is. If you're going to say the case is the one is really mutter, don't, because it was originally mutter. It means the one who died first, his wife is going to be mutter. If the other one got Yibum, because it was mutter and aser and mutter. When her husband died, she was mutter. When the other brother died, she became aser because of chos kukaso. And now that Yibum was done to the other sister, she becomes mutter again. So so one of them is mutter. He doesn't know which one it is. So the Gemara is going to say that Bishlam was the first one who did Yibum, even though he might have gotten the right wife, so to speak, the one who died. No, well, that would be wrong to say that even though when he did it Issa because he wasn't allowed to marry a chos kukaso. But after he did Yibum, and then the other brother did Yibum, so now it became mutter again. Then we're going to say, even though it's a suffix, maybe you got the right one, but still, it's also for you because you were not allowed to do what you did because it was a chos kukaso. But the second one, the one who married second, so he should say that it's only a suffix. I should be allowed to stay with my wife because it's dinner. Kod muvu kansu is only a suffix vada. But if it's a suffix, it seems that suffix drabanan and it should have been made mutter. And that the Gemara proves that the Mishnah is not only a suffix. That's the Gemara's answer over here. Yachi, Hainu, Diktani. Top line. Yachi, Hainu, Diktani, Kod muvu kansu yetziu. It says in the Mishnah wouldn't make sense that it says that even Mediev both of them after divorce. I could explain part of the Mishnah, but not the whole Mishnah. Bishlam Rishona, the one who married first, Amin Leiman Shayalach, who permitted it for you. It means you shouldn't have married, you shouldn't have done Yibum with one of the sisters because both of them are chos kukaso. Ela Shnia Amar, but the second one could say Chavroy Shnia Yibim. Maybe what I'm doing is mutter. It could be that the one, my brother, my friend, means my brother, that he did yibum to the one who died second, his wife, and therefore I'm getting back to the one who died first, and she was mutter and usher and mutter again. So the Gemara tried about 8 tries, helped out the Birchnan, but he didn't accept all of them. And he says the Mishnah is against me. I don't know what to say. The Mishnah is against me. So just to sum that up, the Gemara had a case of Rabbi Yochanan and Rav, and both of them agree that if this is the case, everybody agrees to Mesa Ashniya, that if you had 3 brothers and by her sister dying, so then it's mutter, both Rav and Rabbi Yochanan. The Gemara Kasha from the Mishnah of Arbach, and the Mishnah and the Gemara Taka says that it's against. According to everybody, if you're Rav and Rabbi Yochanan, they don't have to get chalitza from both of them. You could have done this. You could have done chalitza to the wife of the second one, and then the first one she mutter again, and then the Mishnah is against. The Gemara continues. This 2 dots shouldn't be here because it's continuing the sugya still. Tanan, achas men asur ala echad erva, asur ba mutter bachosa, va'asheni asur b'shteihen. The Mishnah said that even though we say that achos kukasot, that if 2 sisters fell to somebody, so they're asa, but if one of them is an erva, so the other one is not called achos kukasot. Get that on the screen over here. I think there's a picture for that also. Up. I'm not sure what I did just now. Yeah. Four brothers, 2 of them married 2 sisters. So there's a host kukasa that you need chalitza from both of them. But the Mishnah says that if one of them is an erva, one of the brothers is an erva, so she's not skuka to him. He can't do even to her. So the other one is not called the host kukasa, and he could marry her. The Gemara goes into which husband died first. Let's say the case would have been that the husband of the one who's related to him, let's call his daughter or whatever, the Gemara's going to call it his mother-in-law. But it doesn't make a difference why she says any one of the 15 arayas if they're a relation. So let's say that one would have died first. Okay, so she fell to Yibum, not to her relation, but to the other one. And then the second one died. And she fell to Yibum at a state of achos kukasa. The Gemara wants, the Gemara says, "V'amai leku chasan liyabim hach de'en lechamosa b'reisha." In this case, that the relative died for the husband of the relative, the one who's married to the relative, died first. And we say that this relative is allowed to do even to was not a chos kukasa, but it says in the Mishnah that the other one is not allowed to do to either one. That was the Mishnah again. I left out this part of the Mishnah. Again, the Mishnah says that if one of them is a relative, so the other one is not called achos kukasa because she's not as kuka. Since she's not as kuka, the other one is mutter. But the other brother, who's not a relative to anybody, he's also to both of them. And the Gemara is going to ask, I could give a case that the brother also should be mutter to marry the red one. What will be the case? If, let's call the red just for convenience sake, if the husband of the red one died first, so at that point she was mutter. He could have married her, but he didn't, and then the second one died. And now came a problem of a chos kukasa. Okay, so now it's problematic. Now they can't marry. But now if the red brother is going to do yibum to the sister, which he's allowed to because not a chos kukasa, so now she became mutter again. So she should be mutter to marry the other brother. How come the Mishnah says that the one that's not the erva still also to both of them? This woman, the red woman, was mutter. At the time her husband died, she was mutter, and then she became usher when the second one died, and then she became mutter again when the relative does yibum to the sister. So now the question was, he should be able, the other brother should be able to do yibum. The Mishnah says not. The Gemara answers that this is the case, the opposite case, that not that her husband died first, but the other one died first. So when the erva fell to yibum, she was already achos kukasa. She never had a chase the chance that she was mutter to that other brother. When the first one died, she was mutter, fine. But then the second one died, and when she fell to yibum, she was usher, of course, to her erva. She was also usher to the other brother because she was already achos kukasa. So now that even though the relative is going to do yibum to the other sister, right, but that's not going to make her mutter because when she fell to yibum, she was usher. The case will be that the Mishnah talks about is because the other one died first, and therefore she, the chamosa, the erva, fell into yibum and a state of isser, that doesn't become mutter. That's the end of that sugya. So it's in the Mishnah that could move a kansu if they did marry. Could move a kansu. So it says that they have to divorce. Same case as before the whole time. There were 4 brothers, 2 of them married to 2 sisters. The 2 brothers died. And now it says that both brothers should do chalitza. Even if they did yibum, but they have to divorce. But the Mishnah said that the Rebbe says not so simple, that according to Beis Shammai, they could remain. According to Beis Hillel, this is the case of Kula Beis Shammai. Beis Shammai is no mekel. According to Beis Hillel, they have to divorce. Tanya Belez Omer, Beis Shammai Yomim Yekaimu, Beis Hillel Omim Yotziu. Same as our Mishnah. The Belez argues and says that Beis Shammai holds they could remain. The Gemara brings a few more Tanaim over here. Rab Shimon Omer Yekaimu. Rab Shimon says they could keep them as wives, which the Gemara is going to say soon that he holds according to everybody. There's no machlokes. Beis Shammai, the Gemara is going to explain that in a second. Abba Shalom Omer Kal Hayolem Beis Hillel B'Davar Zeh. Beis Shammai Omrim Yotziu, Beis Hillel Omrim. Sorry for the driving over here. I'm trying. Beis Hillel Omrim Yekaimu. That Rabbi Abishol says the opposite. That the Beis Hillel is mekel. Rabbi Lezer says Beis Shammai is mekel. Rabbi Abishol says Beis Hillel is mekel, and Beis Shammai Omrim Yotziu, Beis Hillel Omrim Yekaimu. That's the end of the brisa. We have Rabbi Lezer and Rabbi Shimon and Abishol. Rabbi Lezer says that Beis Shammai is mekel. Abishol says Beis Hillel is mekel, and Rabbi Shimon in the middle says Yekaimu. And that's why it's kasha. Rabbi Shimon, come on, who's Rabbi Shimon hold by? Ike Beis Shammai and Rabbi Lezer. Ike Beis Hillel and Rabbi Abishol. Is he saying according to Beis Shammai is mekel, Beis Hillel is mekel? What is he saying different than anybody else? There's machlokes. Who's mekel? Either Beis Shammai or Beis Hillel. What's Rabbi Shimon saying different than anybody else? The Gemara answers Achikam. L'nechlu Beis Shammai Beis Hillel b'davar zeh. There's no machlokes. Everybody knows that they're allowed to remain. It comes out after the Gemara that there are 4 opinions, and our Mishnah has only 2, and the Gemara has on another 2. Means this case that they did take them. They shouldn't have to come over country. They shouldn't have taken them. So our Mishnah says that both of them have to divorce. They have to divorce. Rabbi Lezer says that according to Beis Shammai they could remain, according to Beis Hillel not. Abishol says the opposite, according to Beis Hillel they could remain, according to Beis Shammai not. And Rabbi Shimon says according to everybody they could remain. I'm not sure if I said everything in the right order, but this is machlokas. We pass like our Mishnah. It doesn't happen in this case, of course, but our Mishnah says both of them have to divorce even with the Yevim. If one of them is an erva, so back to our stories over here. We said if there were 3 brothers, one of them is married to an erva, he's allowed to marry the other one, and the other one is allowed to marry the other one. And our Mishnah has cases there are 4 brothers, and the Muslim has a kasha that we learned already once upon a time. This part of the halacha, if there only be 3 brothers and 2 of them died, and one of them is an erva, he's allowed to marry the other one. It's not a chos kukaso. And the Gemara wants to know what's the chiddush of our case more than that case that there's another brother. Here's the Gemara. Oh, I missed it again. We had a mission once upon a time. If there's a sister-in-law is also a sister, which means the brothers married sisters. So it says that she's allowed to do chalitza or yibum, the one who is not the relative, because it's what's happening over here? Because it's not he's allowed to marry the yibum, the other one, because it's not a chos kukasa, because she's not a zkuka. The Gemara answers this is the case of Kiddush. Tzricha diashmin and hasam mishum dalaka lemigzam mishum sheni. Avalachatika lemigzam mishum sheni emolo. Diashmin and hacham mishum dika sheni dekamuchach. Avalasam dalaka sheni emolo tzricha. What does that mean? That the case before, the case where there's only one surviving brother, one yavam. So then the Gemara says it's easier to do yibum over here because there's no mistake. This one he cannot marry, and this one he could. So he marries this one. But when there's another brother, like in our case, so you might say that if he's going to marry her, he might say, I'm allowed to marry the other one. And that's not true. He's not allowed to marry because to him, both of them are a chos kukasa. To this brother, there's not a chos kukasa. This one is an erva, and this one is a skuka without being a chos kukasa. But when the other brother that's around over here, so to him, it is a chos kukasa. He's not allowed to marry either one of them. So if we'll say this case of 3 brothers, you wouldn't know that Allah would be true also by 4 brothers. There's more reason to make it zero. And the other way the Gemara says also, if you only say the case of the 4 brothers, you wouldn't know the case of the 3 brothers, because in this case, there's a muchach. What's the muchach? That we tell means people might forget to hold in of a chos kukasa. It's a little dangerous to allow the erva to marry the other sister, even though it's mutter because it's not a chos kukasa. But people won't realize that. They might think that there's no such thing as a chos kukasa. So here, that you have another brother, a 4th brother, and he's not marrying anybody, he's doing chalitza, so then it's going to become more obvious and evident to people that there isn't a Sirah Chos Kukasa. So how come he didn't take? If the one brother married, why didn't he marry the other one? It must be because there's din of a Chos Kukasa. But you don't have that precaution over here when there's only one brother, so everyone understands he only can take one. The other one he can't take because then it's going to be a Chos Ishto. So there wouldn't be a proof to people, it wouldn't be evident to people that there's Isra of a Chos Kukasa, so it's necessary to say both cases. The Gemara on the bottom, Isra Mitzvah Visa Kedusha. Hanami Tanina is a mitzvah, basic kedusha choletzes v'lomas yavemas. The Gemara's kasha. Am I holding in the right place? Here's a regular case of Issa Mitzvah Issa Kedusha, that if a person has a brother and his wife is a erva to him, but not a red erva, just a yellow erva, just a erva drabanan, or Issa Mitzvah Issa Kedusha. Issa Mitzvah means drabanan, Kedusha might be a love, but it's everybody that he can't do chalitza. He can't do yibum. He does chalitza, no yibum. If it will be a Issa erva, then there's no chalitza either. If there's not an erva, just an erva drabanan, it's a mitzvah Issa Kedusha, so then she does need chalitza. So the one wants to know, what is the chiddush in our Mishnah? Here's the case of our Mishnah, that if you have, as far as the chos kukasa, that here's going to be there are 3 brothers and 2 of them married sisters. One of them is an erva, not an erva, only Issa mitzvah Issa Kedusha, some kind of Issa drabanan or something, a lighter Issa. That so is that going to be called? He's sure not allowed to marry her? We know that. He has to have chalitza, but is he allowed to do yibum to the other one? Is it called an erva? So the Mishnah says no, that it's not. It's not called enough of an erva to take away the chos kukaso. She's still called a chos kukaso. So that's the Gemara on top. Hasam is a mitzvah lechuda. Hacha is a mitzvah vachosa. Sakrat lechameno leikum is a mitzvah. The mokam is a erva v'tisyabe kamash malan. Here the Gemara says that it's a chiddush, even though you know that you're not allowed to, that by erva, that by an erva, that the din is a regular erva, was not an erva, I'm sorry. It's a mitzvah that he's not allowed to do yibum midas chalitza, but you might think in this case that we want to know if the sister is going to be called skuk or not. There is only a mitzvah standing in the way, but on the other hand, you're giving up the mitzvah of yibum. So you might think that the Issa Rabbanan is enough to make that she shouldn't be called a chos kukaso, and he should be allowed to marry her. Kamash Malan, that this is not enough to stop it, and it is called a chos kukaso, and he can't marry her. And the Gemara says, Kasha, why not? Here's the Gemara on top line, first line, why not? Taka, why? The answer is, no, I'm sorry, it's part of the Kasha still. No, V'tishabim is a Kasha. Let her do Yibum. Why can't he not do Yibum to the sister? The answer is, since this sister is only a Rabbanan, the Rai says she's not an Erva, so therefore it is called a Chos Kukasa. But mitzvah of a Rabbanan, you might think that it is true in Nisr Rabbanan, but the whole Zika, the whole Isra of Chos Kukasa is also Rabbanan. You have on the Raisa level, there's nothing here. On the Raisa level, you're supposed to do Yibum. There's no problem with Chos Kukasa. On the Rabbanan level, it's true that it's a Chos Kukasa, and there's Isra of a Chos Kukasa with Rabbanan, but there's also Isra Rabbanan standing in the way that it's not a Chos Kukasa. So on the Rabbanan level, you should be able to marry her. Kamash Malan, that no, they made that the Chos Kukasa stands in the is Aser, and the Isra Rabbanan is not enough to take away the Zika. And therefore, he should not do Yibum to her, even though there's Isra Erva, Isra Mitzvah, Isra Rabbanan, to marry one of them. It says, well, we know more. After the Mishnah said that if one of them is an Arab, he can marry the other one, the Mishnah says a double case. You have the four brothers, two of them are married to two sisters, and one is an Arab to one is an Arab to the other one. We had this a long time ago, and this is the famous case that the red could marry the blue wife, and the blue could marry the red wife, because each one is not a zika, is not a chos kukasa. And the one wants to know, what's the chiddush? We know everything already, we can add it up by ourselves already. Hasu lonely, why do you need this extra Mishnah? It's the same as the Mishnah before. We just did a double. Mali chad, mali trey. What's the chiddush of one or two? Tzricha diashmin and hasa misham dika sheni de muchach. Avalocha deleka sheni de kamuchach emolo. Yashmin and hacha adirabah tarba yimuchach yadali avalidach lo. The Gemara is saying that there's a difference between these two cases. If you have one or you have two, the Mishnah said the case of one, that one is an Arab, you can marry the sister, and then the Mishnah said a double case that both of them are Arabs also. So the Gemara says that one is a chiddush more than the other. In the case of which one is which? Sheni de kamuchach. Hasa misham dika sheni de kamuchach. In the other case, in the second case, the other brother is not taking anybody. He has to do chalitza because he to them is a chos kukasa. So we don't know. There's no declaration. There's not evidence. It doesn't become obvious to everybody that this Isra of a chos kukasa. People might forget that there's Isra of a chos kukasa because they see that he married one of the brothers married one of the chos kukasa. They won't realize that it's mutter because it's an erva. The other sister was an erva. But the Gemara says this case is better because the other brother that's doing chalitza is reminding everybody that I can't do yibum. How come he's not marrying? Because there's Isra of a chos kukasa. But in this case, both of them are marrying, so it's not so evident. The people are going to think, oh, there's no Isra of a chos kukasa. They're not going to realize that each one is an erva to one of the sisters. That's why he's not to marry the other sister. And then the Gemara says the opposite case. This case, it seems, I'm just saying a pshat, I'm not sure I have the right pshat, that over here that both of them could do yibum, but it's going to be very evident who's marrying one. It means that there might have been that one of them might have been more comparable. The red one might have been more comparable. What are we saying over here? I'm not sure. As I'm talking, I'm not sure what the pshat is going to be. But when both of them can only marry a specific one, so then it's more evident that there's the Isra of a chos kukasa. He's only allowed to marry the other one, and the red can only marry the blue can only marry the red. I'm just that shows more that there's Isra of a chos kukasa. But as I'm saying it doesn't make sense because of course the red cannot marry the red, they're related, and the blue cannot marry the blue. So I don't see what's evident about it. The Gemara says that this case is more evident than the other case because over here it's not so much noise, but over here there's more noise. I don't understand. Here there's no noise. The reason why the red has to marry the blue is because he can marry the red. That's his relative. So I got stuck as I'm talking. I thought I had a pshat, but leave that. But the Gemara says you have to have both chedushim. Everything is true. Zui Shamru. It says in the end of the Mishnah that this fancy case is a case of two sisters that have two sisters-in-law, and they can both get yibum. Zui Shamru. This is a case that the Mishnah said that you can have two sisters and sisters-in-law, which means two brothers marry two sisters, and still they both can get yibum, even though usually you can't because it's a chos kukasa. Over here you could, because each one is a relative to one of them, and therefore the other one is not a chos kukasa. The Gemara says there's some kind of a mira zuhi shamu. This is the case. Zuhi shamu lamuti mai. What's it coming to exclude? Lamuti is a mitzvah lazeh, this a mitzvah lazeh. What will be a case over here? Up. I keep on messing it up. Do I have it over here? Oh, here, yeah, up. My driving is not so good. I'm sorry about this. Okay. How about this case? You have 4 brothers, and again 2 sisters, but here there's not Issa D'Oraisa, there's Issa Rabbanan. That he's a relative to her and Issa Rabbanan is a mitzvah, and he's a relative to her is a mitzvah. How about over here? Is it going to be mutter for each one to marry the other one? That's the Gemara. And it means to say that in this case they're not going to be able to. It is going to be called a chos kukaso. Since on the Raisa level, they are a chos kukaso. I mean, the chos kukaso is Rabbanan, but there's no Raisa over here. The relationships are only Rabbanan. So you might think that since it is, you might think the halacha is that Zui Sham was coming to say after this case, where it's an erva. If they're an erva, to one of them, then it's mutter to marry the other one. But if they're not an erva, only it's a Rabbanan, so then it is also to marry and it's a chos kukaso, and you have to do chalitza. And the Gemara says, why is that? She told me a second ago that Issa mitzvah is not considered an erva as far as this goes. Mali zui l'muti mai, l'muti Issa mitzvah l'zeh, Issa mitzvah l'zeh, that you might think that they should marry the other one. Kamash malano. The Gemara says, hasu lamali, I know how. She told me already a second ago that Issa mitzvah is not enough to break the achos kukaso. Mali chad, mali trey. What's the difference if it's 1 or 2? Ma'odatei makilo, I mean, Issa mitzvah b'makom erva, is erva, Hecha the ikal migzar mishum sheni, aval hecha the lekel migzar mishum sheni. Emel lahayu kimna issa mitzvah b'makam issa erva, or lahayu kimna issa mitzvah b'makam issa erva. Or the yabu kamash malon. You might think that this case is better if you have a case where only one of them is the issa mitzvah. So then the other one is still the gzera that he might make a mistake, and also the yibum. You always have that in the back of our mind that if you're going to allow one of them to do yibum to the other one also might do. But over here, that both of them are allowed to do yibum. The fact that both of them have an erva to one of them, Issa Rabbanan, you might think that it's better to forego on this Issa Rabbanan, on this chos kukaso, and say that both of them on a Rabbanan level are also to one of the sisters. Say she went to the other one. There's not such a chash that the other one is going to do anything wrong, because here the other one is also allowed to marry because he's also an erva to one of the sisters. Kamash malan, that you don't say that, and both of them are not considered an erva, and they're considered a chos kukaso, and they're not allowed to do yibum to the other one either. The rest of the Gemara today, which is about 10 minutes left, is hard and easy. It's hard because it's hard, but it's easy because we had the whole Gemara already. Mamish and Daf Yud, we had come out the whole thing. So I'm just going to bring back, if I could, the charts that we had a long time ago. And that, let's see how to do that. Brings back memories. Oh. Wow. Here we are. Okay, one before. Up. Okay. So this was the Mishnah, but now this was a long time ago when we first learned it. It was all new, and now it's already simple. There's a thing called a chos kukaso. 3 brothers, 2 of them married sisters, both of them died. He can't marry either one of them because each one is a zug kukas, or the chos kukas is like a chosishto. And even if there are 2 brothers left, both of them must have to both of them. If one of them is an erva, so then he's allowed to marry her, and the other one cannot marry either one because it's a chos kukaso. And then it's at a case we just learned now that if each one is an erva to one of them, each one can marry the other one. And then the question was, till now we were very powerful. Till now we said that it's an erva. The red is an erva to the red, the blue is a blue erva to the blue, but we didn't say which erva it is. Mm-hmm. So the Gemara is now going to say in the first Mishnah back on the base, it says 15 arayas, 15. And what relationship could they have been related? And the other one, for some reason, the Gemara wants to find it neat that both of them have the same relationship, as if to say, that's going to take the first case, which Gemara is going to talk about, that both of them are bito. Is that the first one? The first one of the Mishnah, Hamish Esrei Nashim, the first daf. How does it go? Bito. So that's what we're going to discuss bito, and the Gemara is going to talk about if it works or not. But the Gemara says that, let's say we'll start off that all of the rights could apply. And we're going to see, is that true? Could you have that such a scenario that 4 brothers, married, 2 of them married 2 sisters, and the remaining brothers is an erva to one of them, to one of his brother's wives, and the other one is the same kind of erva to that brother's wife. Is it possible to have the case? So the Gemara wants to, let's say the first case, bito. Here's the case. Bito. Now, if he would have had, how could this woman, it means this, if you have Reuben, Shimon, Levi, Yehuda, whatever, so Levi, this is his wife.
He married a niece.
He married a niece. He married his brother's daughter. He married his brother's daughter.
Yep.
And therefore, when he dies, his brother cannot marry her, because it's his daughter.
Right.
If this man had this daughter from a wife, this is her mother. Here's her mother over here. If he married her, then it wouldn't be possible that it should be a mirror case on the other side also. Could it be that the other brother also, his daughter, is it possible that he married his daughter? And of course, talking about the sisters. We want the case that they should be sisters. It has to be the same mother. That wouldn't be possible, because that would be also to marry his brother's wife. Can't be. But it is possible. And the Gemara is going to say if they didn't marry her, but it was Anusa that he raped her. So you have one woman that was raped by 2 brothers, and both of them had daughters. And then those daughters married the other brothers. So you could have as a case. Because it's not usher to marry Anusas Achid. He could marry his brother raped a woman, and then the brother is mutter to marry her. He raped her also, whatever the case would have been. But the case would have been possible that I think they say that has to be the second one also was Anusa, not also marriage. I forget offhand why it is. But the case does apply if it would be Anusa, but if it would be in the sewer, then it wouldn't work.
Right.
Let's see the Gemara on that. Where are we holding? I'm Rav Yehuda. I'm Rav Yehuda, I'm Rav. Can't tell you but Kulan ani kor behen asur lazem b'teres lazeh achbachosek shivim ta'achol letzes omer shebemis. The whole Mishnah, we'll see if the whole Mishnah, it means literally the Kulan, but the whole Mishnah could have a case where the 2 sisters that married to the 2 brothers, that's mutter to have chalitza or yivum because they're relatives to one side. It could apply to all the 15. I'm saying loosely, that's what the word says, Bekulan. It could apply to all the rights of the Mishnah. That it could be the same case, that one brother has a relationship to one of the brother's wives, and so too the other brother has the same relationship. Rav Yehuda Matargim Chamosa Veilah. Rav Yehuda says only from Chamosa, which is number 7. Out of the 15, Chamosa, the mother-in-law, is number 7 and on. Over there you could have such a case. But the first 6 cases not. Rashi explains it doesn't really mean the first 6 cases means only the first case. But because of the first case, because of the first case, we're not going to talk about all six cases already. And what is that? My time. That was the case we just put on the screen over here. That this is the only case that could apply. The case of bito, that the relationship between one of the brothers and the wife of the dead brother is a bito. It can't be that the other one is also bito and the sisters also, only for being anusa, not for being the sewer, because then it would have been his brother's wife. He wouldn't have been able to marry her. So therefore, we don't want to talk about it. So the mission, when we say this is apply, the mission doesn't say all cases. The first case is not, and again, that's really the first case. That was the 6 cases already. That was Rav Yehuda. And then we have Abaye. Abaye says it's okay to talk about Anusa, Okay, it doesn't work by a marriage, it works by a nusa. Also, it's good. So this could also be to that case that all the cases you can have what? You can have that both of the remaining brothers are an erva to one of the wives and with it to the other one. You can have a bita also. It's not. On the screen right away because it only works with Rabbi Shimon. They flip the book. We don't want to get involved in focus because according to Onan, there's no such case. We'll see that so. And Rafa says it's okay. So it's all Rabbi Shimon. It's also good enough. Not from the that all the cases could be fit into the template of Asur Lazem Mutar Shivimto Ochalas someone. You can get this template even to the because according to Shimon is good enough. And the Mishkachas La B'Shita Achi B'Rab Shimon. Let's get onto the screen over here. And here it is. That we have just Chazar over fast that we have Eishes Zachav Shloi means if the brother was only born, the brother died, he can't do even that. It has to be that they saw each other. And then a case of he can't do, it's called an erva. He had two brothers that did see each other. One of them died. The other brother wasn't born yet. And then one of them died. The other brother did, which was. And then he also died. So that's what it's. Because even though now he did know brother two, but he didn't marry. Then it talks about. What is this case over here? I'm not sure, but it says this is the case. It says I give you a case. It could be a case. Let's say let's go back to this case a second. That I don't details, but let's say years that lived at the same. One died and two married, and let's say three was born together with two. So number two over here. If four was born, words if three was us, then is it ever possible to be that four should be mutter and that's the quiz book. We want to get a case. Three is going to be to this woman because even though he did see number two, but he never saw number one, so therefore. He's case that number four is going to be mutter. How is that possible? If three never saw it, so then four surely didn't see. So the way we Rabbi Shimon says that it depends if what brother was born, he was already married. Let's say this case. What if when three was born, he found her as the widow of the wife of two? If when born, she was still a widow of one. Even though number two married her, because when they came into the world, but if when three into the world, she was already the two, he did even. So then Rav Shimon says that is mutter. Then three is allowed to marry her because we see her as the wife of two, not as the wife of one. So Gemara says it's possible to get a case that's going to be this mirror case over here that you have to read and read. Or 5 and 6 were born later. But if you get a case, which I put on the screen already, here it is. Four brothers, two and married, two sisters. One died. And she's only to Yibum. But then 5 was born. Before 3 did Yibum to her, 5 was born. So 5 is forever going to be Eishes Zachav Shloi Bala. It's always going to be us at the end because born, she was the widow of 1. Then 3 married her. Then number 2 died. And she fell to Yibum. number 2 and number 5, they know each other. They more. And then was born. So number 2. So he cannot marry this wife. This wife, she's never forever. And then 4 did Yibum. And then 3 and 4 died. 3 and 4 died, and the brothers in remaining is 5 and 6. 5 cannot do Yibum to number 1. That's an error. What's the error called? Because he never saw him. But number 5 is not also to the wife of number 2 because he was born in his lifetime. And on the other hand, number 6 is mutter to wife of number 1, because when he came into the world, she was already married to number 3. And Rav Shimon, it means according to Rabbanan, no such thing. If you didn't see him, you didn't see him. But then always remembers forever. But according to Rav Shimon, if he came into the world, he was already married to somebody else, we delete the history. So here's a case, according to Rav Shimon, where you can that even Eish can have that is going to be mutter to 2, and 6 will be mutter. One, and in case 1 is going to be Eish Zachav Shalai Balama to number 5, to the older brother. 5 is older than 6, and a brother which is born later is going to be mutter because of that. That's the Gemara, and to see it on the screen. That was Abaye, and then we had about Rav Safra. Also put him on. Rav Safra says, "All Mishnah, according to Rav Shimon, Simanacha, Meis Naladim, most Naladim." And here the Gemara elaborates what one of them died, one of them was born, one of them was biyabim, and the Shimon and the Suin. I call that 1 and 2. Reuven and Shimon, Levi Yehuda is 3 and 4. The Suin Shtein Achir. To us if they had sisters or not. That's going to know La Disacha. 1 died, and then 5 was born. The Yibim Levi, and number 2, number 3. I put it on for myself. Let's make it smaller. Is Shimon, and then number 2 died. Nola Zvulun, and then number 6 was born. The Yibim Yehuda, and then number 4 did Yibum to number 2. Then Mesu Levi Yehuda Balabanim, and then 3 and 4 died. The Naflu Gami Yisachar Zvulun, and they fell to Yibum 5 and 6. So that's the whole Mishnah could fit even in the case of Achos Eish Zachav Shalai Golam. 2 more lines to go, but I didn't get the list to continue next time. Shabbos. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. It was more enjoyable.
Good Shabbos, everyone. Good Shabbos.
Everybody. Yes,
Shabbos.
Good Shabbos.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you so much. Good Shabbos. Yes, you go.